What if the very thing holding you back is how much you speak? Imagine this. You're chosen, set apart, walking with a purpose that few will ever understand. And yet, every time you open your mouth and reveal your next step, you're handing over a piece of your power. Most people don't realize that silence isn't emptiness. It's energy. It's preservation. It's protection. And those who are truly chosen, those who carry something sacred within them, understand that not everything is meant to be shared. There are forces, seen and unseen, waiting for information to work against you. Not every enemy wears a mask. Some smile, some clap. Some act like they care just to get close enough to decode your blueprint. When you're chosen, you're watched, closely, not just by those who love you, but by those who want to predict you, slow you down, or even stop what God has started. That's why the art of silence isn't a weakness, it's a weapon. While others are shouting for attention, you're building in secret. While they announce, you advance. The most powerful people in history weren't loud, they were strategic. And the most dangerous thing about them, you never saw them coming. The truth is, when you're chosen, your journey is too valuable to be treated casually. You're not just walking for yourself, you're carrying the weight of a calling. And every calling requires covering. This world doesn't just attack what it sees, it attacks what it senses. And chosen ones emit a frequency. When your spirit is lit with divine purpose, the enemy doesn't need details to fear you. But the more you reveal, the more you allow that fear to turn into interference. The moment you start exposing what was meant to be sacred, you start giving up spiritual ground. There's power in mystery, power in moving silently, power in being underestimated until it's too late to stop you. One of the greatest mistakes chosen ones make is revealing their plans too early. That dream you have, that vision that keeps you up at night, that fire burning in your chest that you can't wait to manifest, it's not ready for the world yet. Not every seed is meant to be planted in public. Some visions are like delicate shoots that need the dark soil of silence to take root. Speak too soon, and you invite voices that weren't meant to influence you. Some will discourage you, not because your dream is wrong, but because it threatens their comfort. Others will mimic your ideas, water them down, and present them before you're even ready to begin. And then there are those who will pretend to support you while secretly working to derail you. When you're chosen, your future is a spiritual assignment. That means it's under attack the moment it's conceived in your heart. There are battles assigned to your potential, long before you even take the first step toward it. And you give those battles an advantage every time you open your mouth without discernment. Silence isn't just about being quiet. It's about being wise. It's knowing that timing matters more than excitement. It's understanding that the enemy needs clues. He works through people, through patterns, through conversations you think are harmless. But when you stay quiet, he has nothing to go on. He can only guess. And guesswork keeps your mission protected. Look at the lives of the truly great. You rarely knew what they were doing until it was already done. Their moves weren't random. They were rooted in purpose and wrapped in silence. The chosen ones don't need the world to validate their steps. They walk with confirmation that comes from above, not applause from the crowd. That's the secret. You don't need to be seen. You need to be steady. You don't need to be loud. You need to be led. So keep your dreams close. Let them grow in the dark. Talk to God more than you talk to people. Share only when instructed. And even then, with those who carry the weight of wisdom. Some dreams are like gold, valuable, rare, and easily stolen. Protect them, nurture them, pray over them. Because when the time comes, and your destiny is fully formed, there won't be any need to explain. The fruit will speak for itself, and the silence that once felt heavy will become the loudest testimony of all. Your first victories are the most fragile. They're the spark before the flame, the first breath of something divine being born in your life. And yet, too many people lose their blessings before they even have the chance to grow, all because they couldn't wait to talk about them. The moment you win, whether it's a new opportunity, a financial breakthrough, a relationship finally going right, or the start of a dream becoming real, there's a temptation to shout it from the rooftops, to post it, to celebrate it publicly, to prove to everyone that you're finally getting what you prayed for. But here's the truth. Not everyone wants to see you win. Not everyone clapping is clapping for you. Some are watching just to see how close you get before it all falls apart. Your first victories are your most vulnerable, because they haven't had time to take root. And what hasn't taken root is easily stolen, easily shaken, easily destroyed. When you're chosen, your life carries a different weight. You can't move the way everyone else does. You can't share like everyone else shares. What may be harmless for others becomes dangerous for you, because your assignment has heavenly implications. God might bless someone and let them be loud about it, but with you it's different. You're being built for something greater, and greatness requires seasons of obscurity. It's in those quiet, hidden seasons where the chosen are strengthened, where character is forged, where the foundation is laid. If you expose your blessing before it's strong enough to stand, you risk letting outside forces tamper with it. And I'm not just talking about enemies. I'm talking about opinions, doubt, jealousy, silent competition, questions that make you second guess what God confirmed. All of it starts swirling the moment you speak too soon. It's better to move in secret and let your fruit do the talking later. Let people wonder. Let them assume. There is power in being misunderstood, in being underestimated. There is power in being silent until the work is undeniable. That way, when you do speak, it's not noise, it's evidence. Look at the way David handled his journey. He was anointed long before he ever sat on a throne. He had the oil, but he didn't have the crown yet. And during that waiting period, he didn't boast. He didn't run around telling everyone he was next in line. He stayed in the field. He served. He waited. He moved in purpose while God prepared the promise. And when Goliath showed up, he didn't announce that he was the future king. He just showed up with power. That's the model. Be so focused on becoming what you're called to be that you forget to perform for the public. Trust the process. Let the blessing mature in silence. And remember, the most powerful people don't walk around flashing their success. They carry it like royalty, with quiet confidence that doesn't need validation. Now let's talk about your finances. When you're chosen, your money isn't just money. It's a tool for destiny. It's provision tied to a purpose. And that's exactly why you have to protect the details of your financial life. The world is obsessed with status, with showing off. Flaunting success has become the new language of relevance. But chosen ones don't follow trends. They follow truth. And the truth is, wealth that is loud is often fragile. Real wealth doesn't need to be proven. It doesn't need likes or attention or applause. It needs wisdom. It needs management. It needs covering. The more people know what you have, the more doors you open to manipulation, envy, spiritual attack, and unrealistic expectations. Suddenly, people treat you differently. They demand more. They judge more. They talk more. Some will try to drain you. Others will try to compete. And some will try to take what they didn't earn. That's the trap. You don't owe anyone a report card on how much you make, where you invest, what you're saving, or what God is doing in your finances. Whether you're just starting to build or already walking in abundance, your financial journey is personal. It's sacred. It's part of the covenant between you and the Creator. And it must be protected as such. If you're struggling financially, don't broadcast it as a cry for validation. Seek God, seek wisdom, and move in quiet diligence. And if you're succeeding, Don't use your blessing to stunt on people who are still in process. The chosen ones are called to reflect God's character, not the world's ego. God promotes in silence. He elevates when you least expect it, and His timing requires your discretion. When the blessing shows up, honor it by keeping it covered until it's secure. Real wealth isn't just in your account, it's in your mindset, in your discipline, in your humility, and more importantly, in your ability to walk through both abundance and lack with the same grace. Let your wealth be seen in your peace, not your possessions. Let your stability speak louder than your spending. And above all, let your financial life be driven by stewardship, not showmanship. Because when you're chosen, the spotlight isn't your reward. Purpose is. And purpose can't be bought, flaunted, or faked. It's built in silence, sustained by faith, and multiplied by obedience. So stay low, stay wise, and let your legacy, not your lifestyle, be what speaks the loudest. There are moments in life so sacred, so divinely orchestrated, that to speak of them too soon is to rob them of their power. When you are chosen, your spiritual encounters carry weight beyond human comprehension. These are not ordinary moments. They are supernatural exchanges between you and the Creator, and they are not meant for everyone's ears. Dreams, visions, revelations, angelic visitations, divine whispers that come to you in prayer or in the quiet stillness of the night, these are treasures. And treasures must be guarded, not because they lose value when shared, but because the wrong environment can distort what was once pure. The chosen ones understand this. They don't casually speak on what God has revealed in secret. They don't turn divine moments into entertainment or gossip. Because they know what's holy cannot survive in a profane space. So many people feel the urge to instantly post, preach, or present their spiritual experiences as soon as they happen. But sometimes that urge isn't divine. It's ego. It's the need to feel important, to be seen as spiritually deep, to gain admiration. And in doing so, they cheapen what was never meant to be public. When God gives you a vision, it often comes wrapped in mystery. It's not always fully formed. It needs time to develop in the secret place. Speaking it too soon can open the door for doubt, for misinterpretation, or for spiritual attacks that seek to abort the promise before it matures. Not everyone is equipped to understand what you've seen. Some will mock it, others will twist it, some will try to claim it for themselves, and many will question your sanity, not because you're wrong, but because what was revealed to you goes beyond their level of understanding. Look at Scripture. God often revealed things to His prophets and messengers that they were instructed not to speak. Paul, in his letter to the Corinthians, said he was caught up to the third heaven and heard things that no man is permitted to utter. John, in Revelation, was told to seal up the seven thunders and not write them down. Even Mary, the mother of Jesus, kept certain things hidden in her heart, quietly pondering them without public announcement. Why? Because timing matters. Spiritual encounters are not just about what you saw, they're about what you do with what you saw. And the chosen know that silence isn't suppression, it's stewardship. There's a temptation to share your divine moments to prove you're favored, to show others that you're walking in alignment. But real alignment doesn't need an audience. When God chooses you, He marks you for a path that demands discretion. Your most powerful spiritual revelations will often be the ones you never speak of. Not because you're ashamed, but because they are sacred. They are between you and Him. They are instructions, confirmations, warnings, and downloads that must be incubated with reverence. And when the time comes, if you're meant to speak, it will not come from pressure, it will come from purpose. Do not throw pearls before swine. Do not take what God whispered in intimacy and expose it to a world that doesn't honor it. The moment you feel the need to publicize a spiritual experience, ask yourself, Is this to edify others or to elevate myself? Am I being led to speak, or am I being pulled by pride? Chosen ones know the difference. They know that sometimes the greatest sign of spiritual maturity is not in how much you share, but in how much you keep. Let your walk reflect your wisdom. Let your power be felt through your fruit, not your feed. And understand that every divine encounter isn't a message to preach. It might just be a secret to keep. Now let's talk about something else the chosen ones must protect: the weight of their anointing. Because when you're chosen, you're not just gifted, you're set apart. And with that separation comes a heavy responsibility. People see the light on your life, but they don't see the crushing behind the oil. They don't see the battles, the private wars, the quiet obedience that no one claps for. And because of that, it's easy to feel misunderstood. The danger here is feeling the need to explain, to prove yourself, to constantly make others understand why you move the way you move. But hear this: you don't need to explain your anointing to anyone. It's not up for debate. It's not for discussion. It's not for them to get. You were called. You were chosen. You were anointed. Period. The chosen ones carry something rare. You're not normal, and you were never meant to be. And when you embrace that, when you stop seeking validation from people who were never called to your level, something shifts. You begin to walk differently. You speak less and listen more. You become more intentional, because you realize, if everyone can access you, then your oil becomes common. If everyone gets to hear your thoughts, your process, your struggles, your visions, your movements, then what makes you sacred loses its edge. And that's not arrogance. That's protection. You are a vessel, and vessels are meant to be filled, not drained by every curious conversation. Your anointing is a weapon. It breaks chains, it opens doors, it shifts atmospheres, but it also attracts warfare. And that's exactly why you must be mindful of where you carry it, how you carry it, and who you carry it around. You can't let everyone into your spiritual space. You can't pour into people who are secretly poking holes in your cup. You can't walk with those who mock what God has placed on your life. Sometimes, silence is the only defense. And sometimes, walking away without explanation is the loudest statement you'll ever make. So protect your encounters. Protect your oil. Protect the divine fingerprint on your life. You don't need to shout to prove you've been marked by heaven. The chosen move in power, and their power speaks even in silence. Some of your deepest battles will never be seen, and they were never meant to be. When you're chosen, pain becomes a hidden language between you and God. It's not for public consumption. It's not for social media therapy sessions. And it's definitely not for people who are just curious, but not called to walk with you. The problem is, in a world that glorifies oversharing, the chosen are often tempted to reveal wounds that were meant to be healed in secret. But not every hurt needs a headline. Some pain is sacred. It's the fire God uses to refine you, not to put you on display, but to prepare you for greater. And if you're not careful, you'll end up exposing a process that was never meant to be interrupted by outside voices. Voices that don't understand your path. Voices that don't respect your growth. Voices that turn your testimony into a topic of conversation. The truth is, the most dangerous thing you can do with fresh pain is hand it to someone who hasn't earned the right to hold it. Some people aren't safe. They'll nod while you speak, and then twist your story the moment you leave. Others will compare your struggles to theirs, minimizing the weight of what you're carrying. And worst of all, some will use your vulnerability as ammunition against you. That's why silence, in seasons of suffering, becomes your shield. It's not about pretending to be okay. It's about protecting what's still healing. It's about letting God do the deep work, without letting the crowd interrupt the surgery. Because healing isn't just about release. It's about restoration. And sometimes the only way to truly restore something broken is to keep it away from hands that only know how to dissect, not repair. There's wisdom in bleeding in private, there's strength in crying where no one can see, and there's power in rising without explaining what tried to break you. The chosen understand this. They know that their scars will speak when the time is right, but not before. Not in the middle of the storm, not when the healing is still raw. Because if you give away your pain too soon, you risk giving away your power with it. You risk letting someone else write the narrative of your journey before you've even finished walking it. Let the process finish. Let the wound close. Let the lessons settle. And then, maybe one day, when the story is no longer a weight but a weapon, you'll share it, not for sympathy, not for clout, but because it's part of your calling. Until then, keep building in silence. Let your tears water your growth. Let your setbacks train your soul. Let your recovery stay wrapped in grace. And just like your pain, there's something else that requires relentless protection: your circle. When you're chosen, who you let close becomes a matter of survival. Not everyone deserves access to your space. Not everyone deserves to sit at your table. And yet, too many people give away their intimacy for free. They confuse familiarity with trust and proximity with loyalty. But the truth is, some of the most dangerous people in your life are the ones smiling in your face, all while studying your weaknesses. They're not clapping for you because they believe in you. They're clapping because they want to stay close enough to monitor your progress. Because envy doesn't always come from strangers. It often wears the face of a friend. Chosen ones don't just guard their words, they guard their relationships. They discern the difference between covenant and convenience, between those who love them and those who merely benefit from being around them. And they're not afraid to walk alone. Because when you're chosen, loneliness is not a punishment. It's often a protection. God will isolate you before He elevates you, not because you're forgotten, but because you're being preserved. You're being stripped of leeches, exposed to the truth about people you once trusted, and prepared for a level of influence that requires clean hands and clear vision. That means letting go of toxic ties, even when it hurts. That means not explaining your boundaries. That means being okay with being misunderstood, even called cold, distant, or arrogant, when really you're just finally choosing peace over pleasing people. Your circle determines your ceiling. Who you walk with will either pull you back to your past or push you toward your purpose. That's why chosen ones are selective. They don't overshare. They don't vent to just anyone. They don't need a crowd. They need clarity. Because every conversation deposits something into your spirit. Every relationship is a gateway to either healing or harm. So when someone shows you they're not safe, believe them the first time. Don't keep people around because of history. Chosen ones walk with destiny, and destiny has no room for dead weight. Loyalty is rare. Energy doesn't lie. And real love will never feel like manipulation. Surround yourself with those who challenge your spirit, not just compliment your ego. People who pray for you when you're silent. People who check on you when you're quiet. People who don't need to be impressed because they're already invested. These are the people worth keeping. Everyone else is just background noise. So protect your heart, protect your pain, protect your peace. Because when you're chosen, your life is not your own. It's an assignment. And that assignment requires constant discernment. Not everyone is meant to walk with you. Not everyone can carry the weight of your calling. And the ones who can, they won't need to be convinced. They'll prove it in silence, in seasons, and in sacrifice. And when you find them, you'll know. Until then, be careful who you let in. Because when you're chosen, your circle isn't just about company. It's about covering. There's a battle that most people will never see. It happens in the quiet spaces, early in the morning when no one else is awake, or late at night when the world has gone silent. It's the war behind your eyes. The questions, the doubts, the silent tears, the internal tug-of-war between who you know you're called to be and who you sometimes feel like in your lowest moments. The truth is, even the chosen wrestle, even the anointed struggle. Being set apart doesn't make you immune to fear, insecurity, or exhaustion. It just means your battles are invisible to most people, and that's what makes them dangerous. Because when no one sees it, no one checks in. And when no one checks in, the weight you carry begins to feel normal. But chosen ones don't have the luxury of breaking in public. They can't afford to fall apart just anywhere. That's why so many chosen suffer in silence. Not out of pride, but out of necessity. It's a strange place to live in, being a light to others while you're still trying to navigate your own darkness. Encouraging people with words you sometimes struggle to believe for yourself. And the temptation in all of it is to vent, to spill your soul to whoever will listen. But here's the danger. When you speak from a place of open wounds, you give people access to parts of you they're not equipped to handle. They won't see the depth of what you're going through. They'll see an opportunity to label, judge, or even weaponize your struggle. And some of them won't mean harm, but their opinions, even well-meaning ones, can still derail you. That's why chosen ones learn to carry certain things alone, not because they don't trust people, but because they trust God more. They know that some healing only happens in the presence of the one who understands the entire story. They know that silence can be a sanctuary when the world becomes too loud. And even when it hurts, even when the weight feels unbearable, they keep showing up. They keep praying. They keep building. They keep moving forward with a strength that doesn't come from motivation, but from mission. And in those moments where everything inside them wants to scream, they choose stillness instead. Not because they don't feel, but because they've learned the value of protecting the process. Because one day when the breakthrough comes, when the storm finally passes, when the pain makes sense in hindsight, they'll look back and realize that what they survived in silence became the foundation of unshakable strength. And now we arrive at the most dangerous habit of all, announcing your next move too early. The desire to tell people where you're headed, what you're planning, what's about to happen next. It's natural. You're excited. You want others to believe in the vision too. But for chosen ones, premature exposure is a trap. It's not just a bad idea, it's a spiritual liability. Because the moment you speak it out loud, it becomes vulnerable to opposition. Some opposition is physical, people who try to block you or compete with you. But some is unseen, spiritual interference that tries to disrupt divine timing. Your next move isn't just a decision, it's a piece of the blueprint. And if the enemy can't stop the blessing, he'll try to delay it by introducing confusion, distraction, or conflict the moment it leaves your mouth. Silence at this level becomes strategic. The chosen don't move like everyone else. They don't reveal plans that are still in incubation. They don't share visions still under construction. They understand that destiny has a rhythm, and the moment you step out of sync trying to impress or prove something, you miss your moment. So instead, they wait. They build in secret. They make moves behind closed doors. They let results speak louder than predictions. And when they finally do show up, it's not for attention. It's because the assignment is ready. This is the mindset that separates the chosen from the crowd. While others are seeking approval, they're seeking alignment. While others are shouting about what's next, they're moving in silence toward what's sure. Because when you really know who you are and where you're going, you don't need to announce it. The impact will make the announcement for you. And here's the thing. People don't need to understand your path. They don't need to agree with your timing. They don't even need to believe in your dream. That's between you and the one who gave it to you. Let them wonder. Let them guess. Let them assume you've gone quiet because nothing is happening. You know better. You know that silence isn't stillness. That quiet doesn't mean delay. Sometimes your silence is the clearest sign that something major is about to break. And when it does, it will speak for itself. Louder, bolder, and more powerfully than any announcement ever could. So here you are, still watching, still listening, still drawn to this message because deep down, something in you knows it's true. You are not average. You are not random. You've felt it for years. The pull, the pressure, the separation. You've always known you were different. The way you think, the way you feel, the way you carry things others can't. You were marked from the beginning, and maybe the world tried to convince you otherwise. Maybe you've been through so much that you started to doubt your own light. But chosen ones don't break. They transform. And everything you've survived was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to shape you for what's next, for what's greater, for what's coming. So protect what's sacred. Guard what's growing. Keep your dreams, your struggles, your plans, your blessings, and your revelations close. Share only what's necessary, only when led, and only with those who can handle the weight of your truth. Because this isn't just about privacy, it's about purpose. The chosen walk a narrow road, and on that road, silence is armor, discernment is currency, and obedience is the language of elevation. If you're still here, you're not just curious. You're one of us. You're part of the remnant. Those who know too much, feel too deeply, and see too clearly to ever go back to living loud and careless. Your silence is not emptiness, it's preparation. And your restraint is not weakness, it's power. So as you move forward from here, don't seek attention. Seek alignment. Don't rush to be seen. Be refined in secret. And when your time comes, it won't need an introduction. It will speak for itself. Just remember, the loudest moves come from the quietest rooms, and those who are truly chosen never have to prove it. They just walk, and the world adjusts.